Welcome to the 2021 SCTE Cable-Tec Expo virtual experience. I know we're all looking forward to being back in person in Atlanta, but the health and safety of our industry is more important during this time. As an industry, as an employee in our industry, you should be very proud of the achievements that have been made over the past, almost 2 years of navigating the challenges of the pandemic. And our work is not yet done. With the COVID-19 pandemic continuing to require around the world and the globe to continue to work from home or homeschool, our broadband networks have worked overtime to be that critical link to keep the world connected. We have truly unleashed the power of limitless connectivity. Cable-Tec Expo brings the global telecommunications industry together. Whether in person or online, we're dedicated to bringing our industry together by any means possible and safely. Expo kicked off yesterday with our amazing pre-show session, 10G, and Convergence, and the start of over 50 fall technical workshops. Today we are here with a powerhouse and a general session lineup that is starting with our Expo Chair and EVP, Chief Product and Technology Officer at Cox, Kevin Hart, who will be joined by Wendell Weeks, Chairman and CEO at Corning, and Zoom founder and CEO, Yuan. And stay tuned. We have a special video presentation at the end to demonstrate just how powerful our networks are and can be in the future. We're on, safely and virtually, to bring you an amazing experience of learning and networking. Buckle your seatbelts. We're going for a ride. Enjoy.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to Expo 2021. Thank you for being here. It's an honor to be part of this event. We have a fantastic Expo show for you. And as some of you know, I've had this honor a number of times over the years. It's fascinating to look back at how far we've come, at the progress and the step changes we've made, and at the futuristic applications that are now possible. As you might imagine, this time is a little different. Not just because we're meeting virtually, but because we've been through a lot together. We found out exactly what was possible when our network, our services, our people, our blood, our sweat, our tears were put to the test. There's a saying that hardships prepare ordinary people for extraordinary destiny. That's exactly what happened. When the pandemic hit and the world went into lockdown, we went into overdrive. Suddenly, the work we do wasn't just important, it was essential. It was mission critical. We took that responsibility to heart. We always have. We worked 24/7 through a global pandemic, through hurricanes, floods, fires, blizzards, ice storms. And thanks to your extraordinary efforts in the face of these headwinds, thanks to your talent, your planning, your hard work, thanks to you, tens of millions of customers were able to work and learn from the safety of their homes over the last 18 months. The broadband networks that you design, build, monitor, protect, repair, those networks provided a critical lifeline that kept our economy moving, kept students engaged, and kept families connected. It's no accident that we kept the world connected. We've been preparing for this for years. Despite the technical nature of what we do, we've always maintained a holistic focus on the people that leverage all of our technology, our customers. I'm really proud of our customer focus, and you should be too. It's because we've stayed focused on the right things that we prepared when the world needed us most. It's because of the recurring themes that we've talked about at Expo year after year. Themes like customers as our North Star, insatiable demand for connectivity, anticipating technology trends, and investing for the future. Today, we know these strategies are working. We handled the biggest stress test the internet has ever faced. We were ready for millions of customers living, working, learning from home, all in the need of a reliable, powerful internet connection. And despite experiencing a year's worth of increased demand in the span of 2 months, our networks were well positioned to manage the volume. While our customers were all at home at the same time, working, learning, streaming, joining video calls, watching live casts like this one, they got the best possible experience. And here's why. Because we were prepared. Because we spent time at Expo bringing together the best minds in the world to think about the future, to think about our customers, what they'll need next, and how to enable it. To emphasize how much your work matters, I want to share a short video.
Connectivity. It's an integral part of our lives. In fact, a whopping 85% of Americans use the internet every day. Our industry has always been future-focused, and we knew those numbers would only grow. So we planned and we prepared. We committed to strengthening our broadband networks. And then 2020 came. And all around us, everything changed, faster than we could comprehend. This won't last long, everyone thought. Probably a few weeks. But weeks became months, and time stretched on. And suddenly, our networks were a lifeline to millions of people. In a very real way, we kept everything going. Making a living, getting an education, tuning in, tuning out, human contact, everything. Think about this. Our millions of customers were able to keep going. We did that. Our work, planning and preparation made all that possible. Our networks are strong, and our people are engaged. So when the time came when all that really mattered, and our industry was tested like never before, we were ready. As an industry, as a community, we were able to support our customers in ways we had never imagined. And now, as the pandemic continues to reshape the way we move forward, we remain a crucial part of our customers' lives. From mundane meetings to the once-in-a-lifetime moments, we are there. And now, we turn once again to the future. The future we will continue to shape and support together. Ever wonder if what we are doing is making the world a better place? Well, you can stop, because the answer is yes.
Wow, that was powerful. The part that really hits home for me when I watch that video is the fact that we kept everything going. Thanks to all of you and all of your extended teams and the work you do, we were ready when the unimaginable happened. I want you to remember that, because the work we do is often behind the scenes, away from the limelight, but make no mistake, it matters. And when it mattered most, you were there. The degree to which our plans and predictions have panned out should give us great confidence that the time that we spend together here is very worthwhile. And that's what I want to talk about with you today, about making sure we're ready to overcome whatever comes next, by anticipating trends, meeting customers' expectations, and pushing broadband technology innovation forward. Anticipating trends is a consistent theme over the years at Expo. In the past, we've talked about it in the form of futuristic applications and services that delight our customers. We envision getting there with open platforms at scale. And together, we've developed DOCSIS 3.1, distributed architecture, remote PHY, and those innovations have allowed us to utilize techniques like fifth upstream carrier, mid-split, high-split, next-gen PON. And they freed up capacity so we could focus on operational improvements, leveraging data analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. At Cox, we've invested in an analytics center of excellence, an incredible team of experts that have been critical in our ability to pivot over the last 18 months. Because the future is all about data-driven network operations, correlation, modeling, trending, and anomalies. We've built this amazing, powerful, scalable, reliable network, which means it's our job to understand how to improve it and build on it so that it's ready for the next big thing. Which brings me back to the customer. The next phase in improving the customer experience is being more predictive and more proactive. We'll be leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning even more in the future so that we can proactively provide a better service. Instead of relying on the customers to call us, we'll know about the anomaly and resolve it before the customer experiences a thing. The next step for us at Cox is deploying a proactive, service health-driven operating model. As technically savvy as our customers can be, they're not interested in why things don't work. They just want it to work, and so do we. That's why our theme this week is unleashing the power of limitless connectivity. Our future is emboldened by our past. We're stronger now than ever before because of what we've been through. And that gives us even more confidence in the future. It's a new era of transformation. To be prepared, we must anticipate and adapt the shifts in residential and commercial consumer demand. Increased adoption of high bandwidth use cases and the shift to cloud services have driven exponential growth in our network traffic. 500,000 IoT devices connect to the internet every hour. Our commercial customers need more than a reliable connection. They need commercial IoT solutions with platforms and applications to help them optimize how they run their businesses. They need asset tracking like our Cox 2M solution that can help track and inventory the millions of cars owned by dealerships across the country. Obviously, we're going to need a lot more network capacity. Just as we start to accept remote work, remote medicine, remote learning as the new normal, along comes immersive light field video, which demands multi-gig symmetrical speeds. Have you seen this? It's incredible. If you haven't, there's a demo from Charter coming up later that brings it all to life. All that is to say that increased customer expectations can be daunting, but we're ready. We've been tracking the trends and designing and building for this with migration strategies to maximize the network's future potential. This is what the path to DOCSIS 4.0 and fiber deeper, multi-gig services, and 10G is all about. This is why we're focused on evolving network platform capabilities with better network security, better reliability, better performance, and a transition to all IP. Enabling network convergence, bringing together the power of wireless and wireline connectivity. Leveraging virtualization and automation through software-enabled transformation. And network expansion, bridging the digital and rural divide. So this week, we have sessions to explore what that means for our industry. For example, we'll talk about spectrum planning, because the traffic over the network is only going to increase. We're expecting a new baseline for growth. And we'll talk about reducing our dependencies on the power grid, because the storms that knock out power will likely get more frequent. We'll look at disaster recovery, business continuity, and how to be greener and take it easier on the environment. And we'll talk about keeping our network platforms and products safe from cyber attacks, which is more important than ever before. We're going to talk about all this and more. We have a fantastic lineup of speakers and content, and with your collective brainpower, I know we'll make great strides in solving these challenges and unleashing the power of limitless connectivity. If the last year or so has taught us anything, it's this. We have to continue to push broadband technology innovation forward to make sure we're always ready. We have to make sure we're always 2 steps ahead of the customer's needs by designing and developing technology and infrastructure that will fuel their demand into the future. And we have to make sure we're always able to keep people connected throughout unexpected and extreme circumstances. We've set a high bar. This week is about keeping people inspired so that we can continue to raise that bar. So take advantage of this time together. Use it to stay ahead of the trends. Use it to prepare for our extraordinary destiny. And use it to unleash the power of limitless connectivity. I would like to take a minute to acknowledge 2 dear friends and industry legends that are retiring this year. First, Tony Werner. Tony is a talented leader and dear friend. We partnered together on DOCSIS 3.1 and 4.0, and I was also his first syndication partner. I want to thank Tony for all of his industry contributions and mentorship. And of course, Cox Communications CEO and President Pat Esser, who's been my boss for the last 10 years. Pat's been a great leader at Cox for over 40 years. In that time, he's doubled the revenue of the company, transformed our network, our products, and our operating model. And more importantly, he's extremely generous with his time, always giving back to the community. For example, the support he provides the Boys and Girls Club of America. I've worked closely with Pat for the last 10 years, and I'm better for it. Thank you, Pat. This also means I've attended probably more than 30 Cable Labs board meetings with both Pat and Tony, and I would typically try to sit in between the two of them in hopes of getting smarter just by osmosis. Tony and Pat, you've made an indelible mark on our industry, and we'll try to make you proud in the future. Now, I want you to get yourself psyched up for the panel discussions, workshops, networking opportunities, and some stellar presentations. Coming up soon, Corning CEO Wendell Weeks. And soon after that, founder of Zoom Video Communications, Yuan. All of this doesn't happen without hard work from a lot of great people. I want to thank SCTE President and CEO Mark Zuban for his leadership, and Cable Labs CEO Phil McKinney for his leadership. And thank you to Michael Powell, particularly for your partnership with NCTA. I also want to thank my extended program committee for all of their hard work and flexibility to make this such an exciting week. My Cox product and technology leadership team has been instrumental in helping us plan this week and instrumental in everything we've accomplished over the last year. Guy McCormick, Kim Kiever, Rob Smallwood, Philip Natsuga, Johannes Eckert, and Patricia Martin. Thank you for what you do every single day. I also want to thank all of you for tuning in to this year's Expo. This is such an exciting time to be part of our industry as we redefine the future, and you are a key part of that effort. Let's take advantage of this time together, because your work matters. You are making a difference. And together, we're building something bigger than all of us. Let's create a future with no limits.
I have the great pleasure of introducing our next keynote speaker. Wendell Weeks, the chairman and CEO of Corning, is an innovator that I truly admire and someone that I call a friend. Wendell and I have known each other for many decades and have done a lot of crazy co-innovation projects together, including the development and building of a full laptop made out of glass. Yes, glass. Wendell has led Corning for many, many years and has led them to develop a variety of glass technologies and has had an impact directly on society, including the work that Corning has done in the development of the vial glasses used for the COVID-19 vaccine. Without any further ado, let's give a warm Tech Expo welcome to Wendell Weeks.
Where is Corning? Some may say a town in upstate New York. Population, 10,709. And they wouldn't be wrong. But that's not the only place Corning is. Because Corning is a company that changes entire industries with its technology by partnering to create innovations that would turn the heads of sci-fi writers. When you ask where is Corning, it's here, 4,200 miles away, at the bottom of the Atlantic, part of hundreds of millions of miles of fiber optics, connecting countries, continents, and billions of people around the world. It's also here, in that super tough yet sensitive interface between you and your phone. It's here, 340 miles above the Earth's surface, in the Hubble telescope, in its optics, and here, in the glass on the International Space Station. It's here, in the screens we view every day, producing unsurpassed clarity in every size, from the colossal to the compact. It's here, in the ceramic filters that make the air we breathe cleaner. But Corning is only part of the equation, because our spirit and drive can be scaled at speed when we partner with customers who want problems solved, turning hypotheticals into innovations. Here, here, and here, oh, and here, and here, and here. Corning, we put ourselves into everything.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. The video we just watched provides good perspective on what and where Corning is today. We're a global leader in 3 core technologies and 4 proprietary manufacturing platforms. Over the last 170 years, we've combined these capabilities to address tough challenges and co-innovate with industry leaders. From our manufacturing process and glass bulb that brought Thomas Edison's electric light into every home, to our revolutionary vials enabling drug makers to deliver the COVID-19 vaccines today, our innovations have been vital to moving the world forward. As we look ahead, we actually believe our greatest contributions are yet to come, which is saying a lot given our history. And that's why, year in and year out, between capital and R&D, we continue to bet at least 20% of our revenue on the future, about twice the level of our peers. So the logical question is, are we making a good bet? Well, what we're fundamentally betting on is human progress. So let's step back and reflect for just a moment on where the world is headed. Are things getting better? Is the world improving with expanding opportunity sets? Is the world getting worse? Or is it stagnating with the best times behind us? Now, I wish we could do a show of hands, but we're on video. So I ask each of you, reflect for a moment. What do you believe? Is the world getting better? Is it getting worse? Or just staying the same? What do you really think? Since we can't do a show of hands with those of you watching, we administered our own survey earlier this month to see how people in the United States feel. In our study, 53% of the respondents said the world is getting worse. 27% said things are staying the same, and only 17% believe that the world is getting better. Is this surprising? Perhaps it's an artifact of the pandemic or recent events. To check, let's take a look at another survey of 18,000 people conducted across 17 countries before the pandemic. In that study, 58% of respondents answered that the world is getting worse. 30% answered that things are staying the same, and 11% said the world is getting better. So, US or global, today or before the pandemic, it doesn't really matter. For every one person that thinks the world is getting better, 5 to 10 others think it's actually getting worse or stagnating. But is the majority right? Is the future a bad bet? Well, let's look at some data. Average life expectancy on a global basis has increased by 27 years since 1950. That is a 60% increase in only 70 years. The global child mortality rate has more than halved since only 1990. In the past 20 years, the number of people with access to clean drinking water has risen by about 13 percentage points. That's 2 billion more people. People are spending more years in school. And since 1976, global literacy has improved by 23 percentage points. Today, almost 90% of the world can read and write. Since the Second World War, we're losing fewer lives to armed conflict. Looking at one measure of gender equality, we can see that the number of women in leadership positions in national governments has more than doubled over the last couple of decades. GDP per capita, a good measure of standard of living, has increased by more than 2.5 times since 1960 on an inflation-adjusted basis. And here's an inspiring statistic. In 1981, when I graduated from college, nearly half the world was living in extreme poverty. Over the subsequent decades, that number has dropped into the single digits. Imagine for a moment, if we can continue that trend line, we could eradicate extreme poverty in our lifetimes. Stepping back, when we consider all the data points that I just shared with you, the natural conclusion is actually that people are living longer, healthier, more prosperous lives. Humanity is moving in the right direction. And the underlying trends are positive. In fact, progress continues today. Every day in recent years, another 325,000 people gained access to electricity for the first time. Every day, more than 200,000 people gained access to piped water for the first time. And some 650,000 people went online for the very first time. Let's reflect on that last number for a moment. It's the direct impact of our work in this industry. We provide the infrastructure for people to connect data, news, and each other all around the world. We've been reaching more than 500,000 more people every day. And that's why we at Corning think that a bet on progress is a good one. Now, the data says things are getting better. So why do people think that they're getting worse? How I believe it links to something fundamental to our human makeup. I mean, it makes some sense. Think back to daily life in early human history. Someone hears a rustle in the grass. Is that just the wind, or is it a tiger? The guy who's too optimistic and goes about his business hoping it was the wind, well, if it turns out to be a tiger, he is not our ancestor. So each of you watching this video today are descendants of those smart folks who lived by the simple rule, that could be a tiger. I'm out of here. Throughout much of human history, negative bias offered a net advantage. In our modern world, however, I'd argue that true opportunity comes from being aware of your biases. As Nobel-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman puts it, you want to avoid not only being blind to the obvious, but even worse, being blind to your own blindness. You need to understand the difference between reality and perception. Additionally, not everything is getting better all at once, all around the world. To paraphrase Harvard psychology professor Steven Pinker, that would be a miracle. And as he said, progress is not a miracle. It's problem solving. And although there are no shortage of problems, we at Corning embrace those problems as opportunities, really as our mission to make the world just a little bit better. I would also argue that the cable industry is making our lives better by connecting the world. Since 2010, data traffic in the US alone has grown from 4.7 to 58.3 exabytes in 2020. And it's surging as we speak. Together, our cumulative bet on the need for more connectivity has been a great investment. Think of what's going on today. Our infrastructure is enabling people to express themselves at scale. It's democratizing financial services, widening access to education, empowering creators and entrepreneurs to connect directly with new audiences and markets. And, of course, we've kept the world going through the pandemic. When I reflect on all of these incredible advancements, I'm both proud and humbled. And I'm quite sure that I didn't anticipate some of the most exciting innovations enabled by the network today. So with this in mind, I'd like us all to think about the difference between hard bets and easy bets. When it comes to predicting which specific technology or application will be the winner or the loser, that next big thing that ends up needing all of this bandwidth, it's hard to be right. I'm intimately involved with mobile consumer electronics. I know the original use case for the cameras on your smartphones. It was not the many things you do with them today. Think of our next speaker, the CEO of Zoom. We look at consumer video conferencing today as obvious. But was it really? Back when people first started using smartphones? Looking ahead, we don't know when augmented reality will become widespread, or when all cities will become smart, or when cars will truly drive themselves. And when you make a bet on a specific tech or app, your probability of success is questionable. That's a hard bet. But what about a broad bet on infrastructure? Again, perception can be misleading. 15 years ago, my good friend Tony Werner of Comcast said, quote, "Broadband traffic is like corn. Neither can grow to the sky," end quote. Now, Tony and I were joking with each other the other day, and he wants you to know that he's officially recanted his 15-year-old prediction. It's just a great example of how our biases distract us from the reality of the situation. The reality is connectivity, bandwidth, will always be relevant to the positive trajectory of the world. Investments in infrastructure are a bet on progress. And that's a pretty safe bet. That leads me to the overarching objectives for 10G. 10 times faster speeds, lower latencies, enhanced reliability, and better security. Now that's quite a vision. We started this century with access speeds of less than 1 megabit per second. Now we're talking about a 10 gigabit bidirectional connection to the home. Is there even any application today that needs that? Well, not really. But overall, new applications will emerge to take advantage of the network capacity that is available. Networks will only become more valuable to human progress. So, betting on 10G, my friends, that's a bet on progress. And a bet on progress is a good bet. Now, specifically, how we get there, what technologies we use to achieve the goal, that is a challenge and open to debate. No surprise, I believe fiber optics is a big part of the solution. It has effectively unlimited bandwidth and it lasts forever. For those of you who agree with me, feel free to give me a call. Because we are at our best when we're working on our customers' toughest technology challenges. We want to work together as an entire industry to make the world more connected and make it just a little bit better. And that is what gets us really excited. Thank you.
Hello, it's great to see you all again on the Cable-Tec Expo virtual stage. There's a packed agenda over the next few days, and I hope you all take the time to hear and learn from industry's brightest leaders. We're in the midst of enabling the next leap in broadband, and this leap will lead the way on how our customers will interact with the world and connect with one another. Our industry was born from grand vision and has accelerated from thoughtful advancement. Built on a solid foundation of a durable and secure network and enabled by engineers, technicians, frontline employees. The internet is powered by industry's high bandwidth and low latency networks. And if there's anything the last 2 years have shown us, it's that. Our customers are looking to us, to you, to deliver superior broadband experience. We've already accomplished so much together, but it's only just the beginning. We're truly unlocking the golden age of our industry. So let's take a first look at the intersection of high-performance networks and data science, what we like to call the visible network.
Look to the future of our industry, it's first worth considering our past. So we begin with a question. Why have our networks been so durable? Let's rewind. Since the beginning, we've learned to expand our network incrementally and strategically. Our industry has long been on a path to deliver on the experiences of the day, from the early days of video to the introduction of broadband and now wireless. The bright future of our industry is our network. The industry is fast approaching over 1 million nodes globally. And every node is its own network. As the internet experience becomes more personalized, every customer has their own unique needs, from the family of 4 to the new graduate working from home. The network is becoming highly customized. The cable plant is the innovation sandbox. The experiences of the collective user base are data points of possibility. At our core, we are a customer-facing service business, expanding, ever growing. Our networks generate trillions of rows of data. And that data tells us a story on where the user wants the network to go. Through key partnerships like Nokia Deepfield, we can understand and realize its potential. Working with those investing in the future of data, we can eliminate data silos. Nokia Deepfield has taken a unique approach to develop greater data insights and enable the industry to deliver enhanced services. Together, we can correlate large data sets and gain a holistic view of our network, from the big picture to the granular. The network is a fluid, living ecosystem, driving data at scale. With new visualizations, advanced analytics, machine learning innovation, and of course, best-in-class data privacy, we continually uncover insights. Through pattern recognition, we understand how and where to build networks. It's the power to react and respond, to improve and evolve, to simulate and predict where the network will go, decades into the future, and to always create a better, faster, more personalized experience. The most interesting and challenging big data science problems are in our industry. And the most brilliant people in the world are bringing their diverse experiences to help solve them, to help build our future. This is the visible network.
The intersection of networks and advanced data engineering, truly stunning potential. We're only in the early stages of realizing the full potential of our networks, and the path to 10G is delivering the highest quality broadband connection for decades to come, incrementally and smartly. We're already executing on this vision, leveraging the HFC plan, pushing fiber deeper, introducing distributed access nodes, next generation CPE. Our industry is making it happen. And the evolution towards a virtualized, software-based architecture will take our physical plant to the next level. This will accelerate the next generation of connectivity, but also enable the convergence of wireline and wireless access, unlocking the true potential of our network assets, gigabit over coax, gigabit over fiber, gigabit over wireless. As an industry, we're enabling a very bright future. The network of the future is defined by key elements. It's at the intersection of the physical plant and software virtualization. It means leveraging our existing critical assets, bandwidth, plant, data centers, next generation CPE and nodes, and increasing velocity with application of the latest digital platforms. We're well on our way to scaling it through incremental investment and at the lowest cost per bit. Next generation multi-gigabit solutions will enable our industry to meet the ever-increasing demands of tomorrow. Delivering the highest quality broadband connection is based on the formula of speed, latency, reliability, and security. The technology required is already being developed and enhanced. It's in our labs, it's in field trials, it's commercialized. Software virtualization means intelligence is everywhere and anywhere. Tremendous architecture benefit and realizing the long-term potential for network-based experiences. It's about having the right tool for the job. It's a convergence of all network technologies, coax, fiber, wireline, and wireless. But it's not just about tech. It's about improving the customer experience through operational excellence. We're enabling new partners to accelerate this vision, to do more and be nimble. Together, we will be improving network fidelity and and service quality. And this all benefits the customer. Our industry is evolving. Our people are too. We're learning new skills, exploring the intersection of the physical and digital, discovering and realizing the limitless potential of connectivity. We're on a compelling path to 10G. We talk a lot about megabits and gigabits, but the true power of our networks is about way more than that. The network's becoming more service aware. Each user's experience is highly personalized, whether working from home, helping the kids with homework, or just unwinding with cloud-based entertainment. It's about low latency, resiliency, security, reliability. Our networks have met the challenge and are ready to exceed expectations. Let's take a look at our path to ultra-low latency, differentiated services, what some of us call slicing for DOCSIS, and a small glimpse into the personalized network of experiences.
This is a time of unprecedented technology advancement. Our industry has delivered broadband and internet access to the masses and gigabit capability throughout the cable footprint. Still, for all we've been able to deliver, we must constantly ask, what do consumers want? It's no longer just about speeds and feeds. They want a customized, on-demand experience from work to play and everywhere in between. Ultimately, the personalized network of experiences is a product. Consumers are demanding the ever-present connection to their network. Our networks are highly orchestrated to deliver exceptional speed, latency, and quality. From the peering point to the fiber core, to the head end, through the plant, into the drop, and over Wi-Fi. A lot of exceptional engineering is required. Realizing the network's full potential means taking this orchestration to the next level and enabling the most optimal path for the internet packet in both directions. One of the next major enhancements of the DOCSIS technology is low latency DOCSIS, LLD. When fully enabled, it will deliver a 99th percentile latency of 1 millisecond. This is the low latency, low jitter performance required by emerging real-time services. Through a series of features, our networks have a path to ultra-low latency. Low latency DOCSIS enables the network to deliver the immersive capabilities consumers desire. This will greatly benefit our gaming customers in the near future and enhance other important applications like work-from-home video conferencing, extended reality, and remote healthcare monitoring. And the technology gives operations insight into performance, identifying and resolving issues earlier in the process. Imagine consumers have the power to dynamically and on demand configure their home network by individual device needs and customized preferences. A network is only as good as the capability on the end user device. Soon, the network can provide the compute necessary to supercharge the device CPU and GPU. Developers will no longer be confined by compute limitations. They will create applications for the limitless network. This is the personalized network of experiences, and it's just around the corner.
We wouldn't be able to get there without the right people and engagement with local communities. That's the essence of SCTE and our industry as a whole, to develop, engage, and deploy. Our industry has been working tirelessly to meet growing connectivity demands and expand service to help people and institutions. From Comcast contributions, which include Internet Essentials, a program that's connected 10 million people in need over the last 10 years, and its Lift Zone initiative, which provides free Wi-Fi to over 1,000 community centers, to Charter's multi-year, multi-billion-dollar commitment to connect approximately 1 million currently unserved and mostly rural homes and businesses to reliable broadband. And Spectrum Community Assist, a $30 million, 5-year philanthropic initiative to revitalize community centers and invest in job training in underserved areas. To Cox's investment of more than $15 billion in the last 10 years and plans to invest more than $10 billion in the next 5. We take all these investments seriously. They're all vital to how we deliver faster speeds, lower latency, and security to support the immersive and connected experiences of the future. Now, let's take a look at SCTE, a subsidiary of Cable Labs, and Cox Communications investments in these areas.
industry is responsible for some of today's most advanced technologies, connecting vast networks across the globe. What's behind it all? People. Brilliant minds working hard, innovating, delivering for our industry and our customers. These are the people who will help realize the vision of 10G. SCTE, a subsidiary of Cable Labs, is fostering the workforce of the future. We provide the knowledge and resources organizations need to train their technical workforce and help professionals advance. Our education is the benchmark for proving cable knowledge. From in-depth, interactive online and on-site courses and certifications, to micro-lessons offering easily accessible training that can be applied immediately. Courses are built by an in-house team with decades of experience, and many of the industry's thought leaders and technology experts. We help employees gain efficiency, close skills gaps, and drive business results. We're strengthening the industry by training, reskilling, and upskilling tomorrow's workforce. To address an ever-changing landscape, SCTE standards created Profit Through Interoperability. Members develop standards and practices, making products interchangeable and interoperable, accelerating deployment of products and technologies. And we're providing a gateway to expertise, from newcomers to seasoned execs, through programs at Cornell University, Tuck School of Business, and Georgia Tech. With 67 chapters globally, SCTE offers local networking, professional development, and certification opportunities. Corporate Alliance Program partners like Cox Communications strengthen the industry and SCTE's mission. Through the pandemic, Cox has remained committed to making employee safety a top priority. And during this challenging year, Cox worked hard to keep people connected, support small businesses, empower healthcare professionals, and keep communities informed. And Cox continued a commitment to inclusion, diversity, and equity. Through Connect to Compete, Cox is ensuring communities stay connected. The Cox CARES Act solutions helped school districts navigate the pandemic. Internally, Cox sponsors employee resource groups to create a culture where employees feel valued and can be their authentic selves at work. Through these actions of connecting people, businesses, and communities, Cox represents the best of what our industry is. We're on a path to great discovery and advancement. We know tackling challenges, solving problems, and creating opportunities depends on one thing: people. SCTE makes big ideas possible and is proud to support you and our industry as we look to the future.
It's a privilege to be part of our amazing industry and the future you're helping to create. Your work with 10G will unlock new, awe-inspiring solutions and experiences. That future isn't far away. In fact, it's just around the corner. And it'll shine a light on the promise of our industry for generations to come. That is why we are here. In your hands, the possibilities are truly limitless. This conference is a culmination, a celebration of our collective efforts. It's also an invitation to learn, to reconnect, to collaborate, to engage in everything SCTE has to offer, and help make the network of the future a reality. Together.
Well, I don't know about you, but that the predictions of the future coming both from Kevin Hart's talk, Wendell Weeks, the videos we've seen this morning. I don't know about you, but I am hopeful. I mean, Wendell brings up some interesting statistics and points, but it is about how do we make life better. The future of the technologies that we see coming down the pike, whether it be from within the MSO cable industry, the mobile wireless industry and the excitement that they're generating in the marketplace, expanded broadband kinds of capabilities and services, the research and work being done at Cable Labs and SCTE, and let's not overlook the R&D and the innovation work coming from the ecosystem of critical key vendor partners that we have as an industry. What I have found unique coming into this industry from the outside is the level of collaboration, the level of co-innovation that occurs. The discussions we've already had this morning, in my introduction to Wendell, pointing out the co-innovation work that Wendell and Corning has had, both in my previous life, but also the support that Corning has given to the co-innovation partnerships with our members and with Cable Labs has been invaluable. But it's just not Corning. All of the vendors play that critical role and have contributed immensely. And I want to take this just brief time here and thank the participation of the vendor community in the development of this great industry over its entire history. Coming in from the outside, I've been here now in the cable industry, and I've been at Cable Labs now. Hard to believe, but it's been a little over 9 years since I joined this industry. And I get asked many times the comparison between, what's happening in Silicon Valley to how the cable industry operates. And I cannot underemphasize the collaboration, the cooperation, the support across the boundaries of organizations that in an environment that I have never seen in my entire career, which is what makes this industry so great. And in fact, recently I was being interviewed by a reporter, and they were asking for my comparison over my previous life in career at Silicon Valley and all of the great organizations that I've been affiliated with over my career, and then my experience at Cable Labs. And I paused for a second, and my answer to the to this reporter was, look, I've worked for a lot of great organizations, but bar none, the best industry and the best job I have ever had is the job I have at Cable Labs. Bar none. There's not even a close part of the analysis. The work we do, the impact that we have on a global basis. Cable Labs now, we have 65 MSO operators. Half of them also are mobile network operators in 35 countries. And you see what we went through with COVID and the impact of being able to be there when the world, and believe me, on a world basis, when the world needed us, we stepped up. Kevin made that as a key point in his talk this morning, and I want to emphasize it and continue to emphasize it. we should be incredibly proud of an industry as what we did in over the last, what is it now? Coming up on 18 months, 15 months since COVID, since, March of 2020, when all of us were, wondering what the future held, sending our people home out of offices. But your teams continued to install, support, deliver those critical broadband services. Now, are we done? No, we are not done, but we are making great progress. But our broadband services was just laying a foundation for the kinds of applications and the kinds of services that took and would enable people to work from home, to learn from home, to stay connected with their families. And as we get ready to go into this next keynote talk, I want to just take a quick moment, and we're going to watch this short video, and then I will introduce our next keynote speaker. So let's watch this video.
Hey, we're Zoom. You probably know us for our meetings. Here's a few things you might not know. You can transform your home office into a personal collaboration studio with Zoom for Home. Need room for more? Scale up to 50,000 people with our video webinar platform. That's a lot of people. Want to send a quick chat or share a doc with a colleague? We've got you covered there too. Want to integrate video communications into your workflow? There are over 1,000 apps in the Zoom app marketplace. If you need to make a phone call, Zoom Phone can connect you worldwide to more than 40 countries. And when you're ready to share your content with the world, engage new audiences via our virtual event platform today. Zoom helps you express ideas, connect others, and build toward a future limited only by your imagination. Zoom for you.
I have the pleasure of introducing our next keynote speaker. Eric Yuan is somebody that I've known for many, many years. I've had the benefit of being a Zoom customer for 8 years now. Eric and the team at Zoom's mission each and every day is to deliver happiness, bringing teams, individuals, families together frictionless. Zoom was founded in 2011. It's been around for a while. Many people think it's relatively new, but it's been around. It is a video-first unified communications platform that all of us have experienced, particularly as a result of the COVID. Prior to Zoom, Eric was the corporate VP at Cisco for their collaboration software, and he was one of the founding engineers and the VP of engineering at WebEx. Business Insider named Eric as one of the most powerful people in enterprise technology. In 2018, he was voted the #1 CEO large U.S. company by Glassdoor, and he's been added to the Bloomberg 50 most influential. And I'm proud to call Eric a friend. Eric, let's give Eric a big Tech Expo welcome. Thank you for joining us today, Eric.
Thank you, Phil. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your invitation. Thank you.
So, Eric, one of the questions I know you probably get asked or have been asked 1,000 times is, how well did Zoom do throughout the COVID? I think people were familiar with Zoom, but Zoom got weaved into everybody's daily life when we all got impacted by COVID in March of 2020. How did Zoom do from a product perspective? You were kind of out there ahead of everybody and became a critical technology for us.
Yeah, Phil, that's a great question. As you know, on a peak day in the end of 2019, our daily meeting participant, was around 10 million. Last March, April and March 2020, it all the way jumped to 300 million. So good news, we survived because of the product architecture. Because on day one, based on our design, we really, challenged us a question: could our architecture survive if suddenly there's a 10 times or 20 times more traffic? That's one. Another thing, we also support not only our own data center, but also we support a public cloud as well. So essentially, it's a hybrid architecture. If something, and really need some more traffic, we can add more servers from those public cloud vendors like AWS or Oracle Cloud. I think because of the two factors, and we survived. Otherwise, I cannot imagine, how we can survive.
Yeah, I mean, and you and I were talking in the early days of the COVID experience as you were seeing that kind of explosive growth. And I have to say, I was impressed at the ability to take on, because everybody was moving to Zoom, but other platforms. But Zoom got the dominant play with schools going on, at home, people having to work from home. The question I'd ask, next question I'd like to talk about is what could Zoom do with a significant increase in available bandwidth? If there was more bandwidth, not only to your data centers, but more importantly to your customers, to consumers, to businesses, what could you do with that? You did great with COVID, given what was in place, but as we go forward, and we're delivering, multi-gigabits types of speeds, is there something that Zoom can do with all of that increased bandwidth?
Absolutely. I still think the bandwidth is the number one important thing. You and I chatted last year, right? And when the pandemic crisis, hit us, we had to make a bold decision, meaning we had to downgrade the video quality from HD, 1080p or 720p to the 360, because we wanted to be a good citizen of the community, right? Because the internet bandwidth consumption problem, right? So, and if we have enough bandwidth, first of all, video quality much better. And the second thing is a lot of features, I think, in the pipeline, like, telemedicine, telehealth, remote surgeries, I think AR, VR integration, I think you have to have enough bandwidth, right? That's very important. I share with you my personal experience last year. I have two, internet, service providers, right? And, Comcast, also AT&T. Even if I have two, sometimes the bandwidth is still not good enough. So, and I think, in the future, with more and more bandwidth, I think a lot of new innovation can be built upon that. That is extremely important for the future innovation.
Well, and I know at Zoomtopia recently, the Zoom user conference, you've made a number of announcements, but probably one of the more exciting announcements from the standpoint of just the explosion of support for Zoom is from your third-party applications. And you look at the catalog and it's massive. What's your thoughts about that application layer that not only, takes advantage of Zoom, but delivering some different kinds of experiences?
Yeah, so great question. So when we started, we wanted to build a good video conferencing application. Essentially, our goal was to become a video conferencing killer app company. And that's what we did over the past 10 years. Next 10 years, I would say will be even more exciting. We would like to transform our business to become a platform company. So meaning not only, do we have a video call like this, because imagine you and I, we turn on the video. If you and I, we do not see anything, I think this video conferencing experience is useless. How to bring in other contexts to this video call, especially to support a future hybrid work. You and I, we are not at the office, at the same time, right? How you can approve my experience report, or maybe before the meeting is over, what you and I can do, right, to enjoy, interacting with each other, like we play the games together, right? I think we can bring in any kinds of business apps or the consumer apps to the video-centric interface. Essentially, Zoom will become a people-centric interface. We can bring in any other third-party contexts to this interface. That's a vision of Zoom platform. Recently we launched a bunch of Zoom apps. I can tell you, I can easily, switch my virtual background. You and I can play a game together. It's very exciting.
Yeah, and in fact, I think there's been a couple of articles written about your view on travel, right? And this is even pre-COVID, and you and I've had this conversation, right? That your objective was to create an application that did not require you to travel, to be away from your family. You were definitely on the leading edge going into COVID of yourself, even during Zoom's IPO, of not traveling as a traditional, typical Silicon Valley CEO that is out there. And with those kinds of experiences, I know in the back of your head, because every time you and I talk, you're always asking about features, what features should be added to Zoom, and you add features all the time. What are some features or some things that you think are going to be absolutely necessary to really bridge the teams together? I mean, you can run all the applications, you can do all the collaboration, but I think are there things that you would like to do but are just limited by current technology constraints?
Absolutely. We often talk about why do we need to travel that often. Prior to COVID, I told you several times, I only traveled, business travels, and mostly twice a year. If I traveled often, something I think Zoom may not work, right? So, and also with greater internet, bandwidth with the technology like Zoom, I think there's no reason for me to always travel. I can spend more time with my kids together. Having said that, for sure, I think, with in-person meeting, I think today is still better than Zoom meeting. Because even if our vision is to deliver a better experience than face-to-face meeting, but we're not there yet. We really need some social interaction. Like Phil, you and I, we did not see for a while since COVID. And if we have, let's say if you and I meet in the Starbucks coffee, I will give you a big hug, right? And today we cannot do that, right? And you get a cup of coffee, I also cannot enjoy the smell as well, right? And plus, imagine any two person who can meet online over Zoom. And if they speak a different language, right, what we can do to leverage AI to support a real-time language translation. Essentially, with technology, and in the future, Zoom can deliver a better experience than face-to-face meeting. After the meeting is over, we can automatically generate a meeting summary, action items, take the meeting notes. And, that's a world where we are going to live in the future, but we are not there yet. Not to mention with the AR integration, you and I feel like we're sitting together in the local Starbucks coffee. I think that's why we are very excited, to keep adding more and more technologies to truly make a video communication better than face-to-face meeting.
So one question I'd like to ask you, this is actually a question I actually posed to Brendan, your CTO, who actually has been a great partner with the cable industry as we were working through the early COVID weeks and months in the early days. But the question I always ask is, how can the cable industry assist companies like Zoom to innovate? Where are there opportunities with the cable broadband industry and companies like Zoom? How can we help you? How can we help you innovate?
I think, first of all, you look at the Zoom's culture, right? We truly solicit feedback from our customers and partners like you and on the cable industry. And, together, we can innovate. As I mentioned earlier, right? I think with enough bandwidth, right? And with the AR or VR integration, right? Every call should be a minimum 720p or 1080p, right? And otherwise, you really cannot enable those innovations. Also, you look at the industry, like a vertical industry. Take healthcare, for example. I think a huge opportunity ahead of us. Telemedicine, telehealth are going to become mainstream, right? And also, you look at even for the senior remote care, right? Also, you need enough bandwidth as well. Not to mention for the operating room, right? And how to support a live surgery. Imagine a doctor here in Silicon Valley, can serve a patient, that patient might live somewhere in Africa, right? With enough bandwidth, and you can support a live surgery, right? That's for the the healthcare industry. For education as well, online education, and I think with AR technology, with every classroom should be equipped with the AR, device, and also like Zoom rooms, right? And enable the HD quality. I think those kind of features cannot be done without the support of the enough internet infrastructure. Specifically, I think the cable industry, and that's why I think future a lot of new innovations, new features can be built upon this partnership.
Yeah. Let's talk about the telehealth. You brought that up, and I know that Zoom played a critical role, and continues to play a critical role even as we get hopefully to the other side of the pandemic. But the role of the Zoom plays, and your thoughts on what does the future of telehealth looks like in the form of video communication?
I think telehealth, whenever we talk about, the healthcare industry, I suppose that's one area, we feel very, very excited, huge opportunity ahead of us. Even, during the COVID, right, we all work from home. We know there's no productivity loss, but guess what? The mental health is becoming a huge problem, right? Anxiety, depression, and how to leverage Zoom, right? And to address that. Now patients, can be comfortable in their own homes and receive the care they need whenever they need it, right? I think, that's one area. Like another area, like a pharmaceutical development, right? At Zoomtopia, and one of our customers, Bayer Marin, right, shared how they use Zoom to connect their 5,000 employees across 6 continents to work together on treatments for rare diseases, right? This is not a great example. Also, as we talk about the elder care, remote medicine helps home healthcare givers, which can allow in some patients the support they need to stay in their own homes, right? And also, the care person might live anywhere in other, places. Also, we talk about a surgery, right? How to support a live surgery. And at Zoomtopia, we have a customer, Medtronic, who brought Zoom into the operating room, right? So that medical experts, could advise on surgical procedures in real time. I think all those kind of use cases and are very, very, exciting.
Yeah, and in the case of the telehealth, I think everybody now has gotten used to being able just to have a normal conversation with your doctor and not needing to go into the office and sit in a waiting room and lose the travel time. So it also is that efficiency and taking down kind of the loss of productivity in between. What's the, when I think about Zoom, obviously in the business world, but probably one of the biggest areas that embraced Zoom early on, you were providing free licenses through COVID to school systems in order to help the, learn from home. What are your thoughts about the future of education now with technologies like Zoom? What does the new normal look like, I guess, is the question. Yeah,
so you are so right on. And I think the two most important vertical industries, we focused on since the very beginning after our product was ready is healthcare and higher ed. I think, education, especially for higher ed, online education is extremely important. Like our first paid customer was the Stanford Continuing Studies Group. Today, look at the high school, or K-12s, we never thought about, to offer the Zoom to K-12 schools because we thought the young kids, it's better for them to go back to a campus. However, last year, given what had happened, we realized, we had to and care about the K-12 schools as well. And that's why we offered free service to more than 125,000 K-12 schools around 25 countries. Because our company value is just one word, care, meaning care about the community, customer, company, teams, as well as ourselves. To care about the community is number one important thing. That's why it's a no-brainer for us to offer the free service to help those K-12 kids. Also, by doing that, we also learn, wow, I think K-12 schools, they also can leverage Zoom to facilitate, online education. Take the university, for example. Quite often, I think you have, the students, they can come to the classroom. At the same time, you might have students who are willing to join online remotely, right? How to support the hybrid? I think the future higher ed classroom will be very similar to workplace, will be hybrid, right? Give the students, a flexibility, a choice. They can join anywhere. They can learn. Essentially, sometimes let's see students that are traveling, to other cities. They still can keep, learning online. I think that's a future very similar to the way for us to work in the future.
Yeah, well, it's interesting when you think about the future of work, right? A lot of organizations are struggling as to getting staff back into the office, letting people work from wherever, or is there some hybrid structure in between? So talk about the future of work. I mean, obviously, you've become a critical tool. You have a lot of insight into how your customers are thinking about how to keep that productivity level up with employees within small, medium, and large, and extremely large multinationals. What are you seeing? What is the new normal for work look like?
I think last year when we sent our employees, back to home to work, we were very concerned about the productivity because we never had that experience before. The good news was that there's no productivity loss after we sent all the employees back at home. Because of that, I think the way for us to work in the future will be very different. I do not think we would like to send all the employees back to office 5 days a week. I think, our engineers, they are not willing to go back 5 days a week. Also, and, we also have, workplace, and plus, working from home, and sometimes also we're bringing the mental health problem because we are human beings. We need a social interaction. That's the reason why I think the future is really about a hybrid. Maybe 2 or 3 days in the office, 2 or 3 days at home. I think from high level, that's a definition of hybrid work. However, you are so right. To make it a hybrid work is not that straightforward. You need to make sure have a process. Also have, the system to support that. And also how many days and how you pick up which day, right? A lot of the smaller things you need to figure it out. I think the future workplace, let's start from workplace. And the future of workplace will not be like today's workplace. The future of workplace, more like a mentoring, a coaching place to facilitate group activities. I think that's very important. You really do not need to give every employee a desk anymore, right? Because not every employee will go back to the office at the same time. Plus, a lot of systems are not ready. I give one example, like a conference rooms. And today, if you have 4 people who join this call from the conference room, I join from home, very likely I will not be part of that conversation, right? How to leverage technology to make sure, even if I join remotely, and I still can see multiple persons and from the conference room, rather than just one view, right? And that's why we introduced the smart gallery features. A lot of features, we announced at Zoomtopia. For every feature, we always ask ourselves, could this feature support hybrid work or not, right? That's why we need to look at a new system, new workplace setup, new policy, and also we need to adjust that, in a timely manner, right? And sometimes, employee, they may not want to let you make a decision. You pick up 2 days for employee, right? Employee might pick up 2 days. That's why, a lot of, I would say the new things, right? We need to think about it to support the hybrid work. Again, high level of this hybrid work, but it's not that straightforward.
Well, for instance, I know a lot of CEOs that I've talked to that, have known over the years, and they're all struggling to try to figure out what does this work environment look like. One common approach that people are taking is that if there is one person in the meeting who is remote, then it's a video first experience, meaning everybody is on their own camera. I mean, it used to be that you'd have to have a laptop in front of everybody, in a conference room so that everybody was seeing everybody face on to a camera. Now, I know you've developed some technologies that having a conference room, I'm sitting in a conference room here in the Cox headquarters. I'd end up with 20 laptops on the table. And I know you have solved that. But before we get into that solution, talk a little bit about the role of this video first, the fact that if one person is remote, making them feel like they're an equal citizen at the table.
Yeah, today, actually, if you go back to the office, I think very likely you are not going to be the equal citizen because the technology was not there. And you have to, add the new technology, right? Meaning that's why we just mentioned a smart gallery, and you needed to enable that functionality. Otherwise, very likely, the 4 person, who are sitting together in the conf room, they are going to drive the conversation, right? Because, from remote side, you only see the one view rather than you see the multiple square, right? And also, you do not want to let everyone to bring their own laptops to the conf rooms. I think how to leverage the technology, right? And with 1 or 2 cameras, right? And not only do we send out 1 camera view to the remote person, and also send multiple views. Essentially, from a remote perspective, I feel like I'm part of the conversation because even if 4 of you are sitting together in the conf room, I see the 4 or 5 squares. It looks like all of us we are working from home, right? This is just the one feature, but in the future, almost everywhere, right? Every feature, we should look at, could we support a hybrid work? Could we make sure everyone, no matter where you are, you'll be equal, right? And we collaborate or work together. I think that's a guiding principle for us to support the hybrid work.
Well, and I think it's going to be the guiding principle for everybody because I think the hybrid, like you said, employees are saying are speaking with their voice about what is it, how they feel they can operate the best, and where this balance is of productivity, the work-life balance, and having the social interaction. And it's really trying to juggle those 3 balls together. And how do we as organizations and how do we with technologies actually make that seem seamless? Question, let's talk a little bit about some of the other announcements at Zoomtopia. I can't even keep track of the upgrade feature list. What was it last year? Zoom released 300 new features into the platform. And Zoomtopia is a very popular event for people in organizations who really are looking at a video first kind of collaboration and communication platforms. So what were some of the highlight announcements that was announced at Zoomtopia?
Yeah, every year, we host our annual user conference, called Zoomtopia. And every time we are going to announce some exciting features, essentially just more like 1 step further towards our dream to deliver a better experience than face-to-face meeting. Like, last month, we announced a live translation feature. And, any 2 person, even if you speak a different language and with AI, enabled live translation, we can support that, right? So, we are very excited about that feature. And also, again, as I mentioned, we would like to transform our company to become a platform company. That's how to support that, right? That's why we are doubling down on our Zoom apps ecosystem. We announced a bunch of brand new apps, like a DocuSign integration with Zoom, DocuSign Zoom apps. At the same time, we also are doubling down on our SDK business. Essentially, you can embed Zoom into your own business workflow applications or any maybe some consumer apps. We support a bi-directional platform. We can bring in your app to a Zoom ecosystem, which is called Zoom apps, or we can embed SDK to your application, right? So a lot of innovations around the platform. For sure, there's a lot of with smaller incremental features, like we talk about smart gallery, and also how to support the hybrid work, like a whiteboard as well. I think a lot of smaller features. Overall, the theme is very clear: to enable the platform to support hybrid work, and to make sure in the future we can deliver a better experience than face-to-face in-person meeting.
Yeah, and I think I wanted to point out that everybody, the thousands of people who are watching this session right now, you are actually watching an embedded Zoom experience inside of the platform of the event host. So this is an example of, as Eric is just saying, about using the SDK to take the Zoom experience. I'm on a Zoom client, Eric is on a Zoom client, but presenting it through the event host platform that we use from our event partner. So this is a perfect example of being able to take a Zoom experience and embedding it into an overall experience. And that's what Tech Expo will have over the next 3 days as everybody connects and collaborates and communicates. The one question I always like to ask, and whenever I do one of these interviews for my radio show is we've been talking a lot about Zoom, but Eric, you are a well-known, well-respected engineer. You work at WebEx, you're founding and architecting the Zoom platform, and now leading, being the guy, the person behind the scene who really set up Zoom as it is. I'm interested in your view, not of Zoom, but of innovation in the future. If you could sit back and just, had an opportunity to think about what innovation would you hope to see in your lifetime that does not exist today? What innovation would that be? What would be an innovation that you hope to see in your lifetime that does not yet exist today?
Yeah, thank you, Phil. I think, before I answer to that question, I would like to leverage this opportunity to thank everyone working in the cable industry. I'm so grateful. Without, the cable industry's great contribution, great work, there's no way for us to survive, since the COVID, right? And really, really grateful. I think back to your question, I think technology-wise, I think we are living absolutely in the right time, because there's so many new things. I think that where we feel like there's a new technology that can truly help us to think about something we never thought about before in the history. Like space traveling, right? Nobody thought about it before. Like recently, Jeff Bezos, or others, right? And they traveled in the space. I think how to facilitate that, meaning in the future, more like a shuttle bus. I wanted to travel to the moon, right? And I can online order a ticket. Phil, you and I, we can travel together. I hate traveling, but I'm okay to travel to the moon, right? I think I order an online ticket, tonight, you and I are going to have a drink in the moon, right? Technology like that will be very, very, exciting. And also the biotech as well. I think huge opportunity for the biotech. You look at the mRNA technology. Imagine without that, we still stuck at home, without the vaccine, right? How to leverage the mRNA technology. Maybe, next several years, we can completely cure cancer, right? 100%, right? With nanotechnology, with the mRNA technology. really understand how cells work, right? I think a biotech, even like a medicine, today, how to support a customized, personalized medicine, right? It's not an area I think we can innovate, right? I think those technologies, right? I think also, another, area like, we just talked about, you and I can travel to the moon. What if we can explore the ocean, right? Rather than you and I will dive to the ocean to explore, right? How to leverage, the remote robots, right? From online, one click, we can send an AI-enabled, great robot, right, to explore the ocean. You and I, we can sitting together, enjoy that, to control that. I think, think about technology, a lot of new things. I think I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, and I, the one that I probably resonate with is space travel. Having grown up, in the first moon, race going up with Apollo 11, and then watching the shuttle programs, and now thinking about it that you've got Elon and Jeff and others now making a cost per liftoff at such a low price that it just can be transformative. And I think also, I do resonate also with your talk about biotech, because I think human longevity, right? We all, would love to live forever, may not be the best thing, but the ability to apply technology to make life meaningful, to take away suffering, to equip people to have the best life possible, to be there for their families as they, supporting them. I think the role that biotech and medical and telehealth in general. At this event a couple of years ago, we had Dean Kamen on stage delivering a keynote in his role in artificial organ transplants, which I'm still absolutely amazed about, that you can do those kinds of things. So it has been, I think the technology just never ends. And to the benefit of Zoom is Moore's Law keeps moving forward, and the ability to get more processing speed at lower cost allows you to do more and more things. So with that, Eric, I just wanted to express my appreciation of you taking your time out of your busy schedule. There's a lot I know going on at Zoom. I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate the friendship and support, and wish you and Zoom the absolute best. And we look forward to our future co-innovation collaborations between Zoom and the cable industry. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, my friend Phil. I look forward, to having a coffee in the moon with you together. Thank you, everyone working in the cable industry. We are so grateful. I really appreciate it.
And we'll have to get together next time we're together. Well, I'll have to come to the Valley since you don't travel that much. And we'll have to get together for a coffee, or maybe even sneak a luncheon there at the Zoom headquarters in San Jose. So again, thank you, Eric. Truly appreciate it. Let's all give a warm appreciation to Eric for his time today in sharing the view from his perspective in his leadership role. Thanks, Eric. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, was I right? Wow, what a ride. Technology of the future is here and now. And we are the industry making it possible. So please continue to stay safe during this time and enjoy the rest of your 2021 SCTE Cable-Tec Expo, the virtual experience.